Okay, so there are a lot of videos out there on forging axes, on making knives, on fitting up knives, and all that fun stuff. But what there aren't a lot of videos about are, yeah, fitting handles on tomahawks. When it comes down to it, when you're forging a tomahawk head, I generally like to drift from the bottom up, and then my final drifting being from the top down, depending upon how many times I have to do that. At the same time, making sure that that blade is square to the handle, 90 degrees, because it really does matter when it comes in for that cut. If it is askew, it's especially going across grain, it's going to be a problem. So first things first, in the forging, it's important that you don't have any burrs or anything inside the eye, and you remove what scale you can. Now, when fitting the handle, a lot of people go, hey, it's drifted for a standard tomahawk handle. Let's go ahead and knock one in. Okay, it's good. Guess what? You use it and it gets loose. What is going on? Many cases, it requires fitting to make your handle fit the eye of your tomahawk. There's going to be individual variations in between the tomahawk drift, the handle, the shape, the final shape of the eye. There are factors to consider. Now, what I like to do is I will start with a standard tomahawk, what I call a handle blank, what most people just call a handle. I will shape it from there, and I will make sure that I get a final fit that I'm happy with. After I do that, I remove the head. Okay? Now, prior to going down the entire length of this blade, or length of this handle rather, to make sure that this head will fit the entire length, that's not necessary. In a lot of pieces, now obviously this is not the same as this particular eye, because it only has to be undersized from that eye to make sure that that will fit. I'm only worried about this section right here. And with use, if this is still a little bit larger, it's going to tighten it instead of come loose. So something to consider instead of going through all the work and trying to smooth everything to the same diameter. Take some of it down if you need. It also makes for some cool looking handles. Now, when you go to final fit your tomahawk head, it's important, make sure you've got a good fit. Remove your head. And I like to use boiled linseed oil. Occasionally I'll use teak oil. I oil the handle, let it set for a moment. Then I fire up my gas forge. You can use a propane torch if you like, but a source of heat is important because that heat starts to open up the grain and the pores in the wood and allows that oil to penetrate. I usually do a little, bit of burning and scorching of the wood. I think it looks nice. And I will do multiple coats of oil and run it back through and watch, and I will actually see areas that appear basically dry spots come up because the oil is penetrating the wood. I know it's doing its job. When I'm content with several passes, I say, okay, I add my final coat of oil, or close to final coat, and I put it on my rack to set for at least several hours. I usually do this overnight. When I'm done, and I come back out and I say, okay, it's time to do assembly, I slide the handle through the top, and I set it with a dead blow hammer or mallet. And generally, it's the top, this top of the eye generally stops about here, somewhere right in here, just below. And I have to drive it on more so because I had a good fit to begin with. Now that oil has caused the wood to swell. And I feel my experience is doing that particular method of installing a handle in a tapered eyed tomahawk or axe, it does not come loose with changes of humidity, temperature, near to the extent of what it would with a dry piece of wood. It also appears to be substantially stronger and more resilient than just a dry piece of wood. So these two are ready to go, but because I go a little further, I'm actually going to do one final coat with the head on before it goes out to the customer, and the customer gets these two hawks and said, I absolutely love these, because Dustin did a great job on them. So I hope that's been informative, and if you're someone who likes to throw hawks or make tomahawks, I hope it gives you a little bit of insight and might help you out a little bit. Be sure to like and subscribe, and you can check out my work on either bladeswork.com or Fortune Fire Knife Makers Marketplace. You have a great one.